My name is Art with No Code Devs. We're happy to have you here. Thank you for being a part of the No Code Devs community or the No Code community at large. We're very excited today to have Aviv from Bright Data to talk about how to master web data collection with no code. So what we'll do, the format for the presentation will be, we'll go through some of these slides. He'll talk about how to master no code web data collection. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat as we go through the presentation. We'll either answer them, in line with the presentation, but we'll also have a dedicated Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions at the end, you could certainly go ahead and ask them there. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Viv, hopefully you can get on here and unmute yourself and start with the video. Let me know if you have any troubles.
Okay, thanks, Art. Yeah, I need you to enable my video.
Okay, yep, 1 second. I'm actually just going to make you the host for a second, and you should be able to start your video. We still have some people coming in, so please share your location in the chat, where you're calling in from. Put any questions in the chat as we go. You should be able to go ahead and start your video now, Aviv.
Oh, here we are. Okay, so hi everyone, and I hope you can see my screen fine. My name is Aviv. I'm a product manager in Bright Data. I've been in the company for about 5 years now, and I manage our proxy networks as well as some of our managed solutions, which we will discuss later on. If you have any questions, I'll be happy if you can put them in the chat, and I'll try to answer any of them later on when we're done. So don't be shy, feel free. A little bit about us, about Bright Data. So Bright Data is serving today over 10,000 customers. Out of them, also Fortune 500 companies. We are over 300 employees worldwide. We have our headquarters in Israel, and we have main offices also in New York City and Bangalore. We're an international company. We are UK with a UK ownership. We were acquired in 2017. And I'll just say that probably at any vertical you look at, if you'll take the top companies, in most cases, these are already our customers. A few words about the Bright Initiative. So about a year ago, we opened this project, and the Bright Initiative basically operates as a separate organization, separate from Bright Data, and it uses public web data to make positive change in the world. It's powered by Bright Data, by the technology, and so on. And the initiative provides public bodies, nonprofits, universities, academies, and so on, access to the Bright Data products and expertise. Becoming a member in the Bright Initiative is for any of the above organizations that I mentioned earlier that are doing all kinds of activities to promote data-driven research and professional expertise, fight social injustice, support environmental causes such as fighting global climate change, promote web transparency and trusted digital ecosystems, and so on. So if this is relevant for you or anyone else, feel free to contact me or contact any contact in the company, your account manager or anyone. You can find the site, and we'll just connect you to the right people and help you get started. Okay, so a recent survey shows that 95% of financial services, financial organizations have relied on outside information to contribute towards business success in the past year. So basically, data information is becoming more and more an active part in business strategy. It's being a larger part of making decisions and getting real-time information that reflects the status of what's going on in the markets with real value. And all of this is very easily integrated to any company today, especially with the new generation products that we've launched, which I'll present soon. Basically, a lot of companies today can make better investment decisions or business decisions with more up-to-date and accurate information. And also keeping in touch with market shifts and trends in social media and e-commerce websites, any type of sites. This is something that's becoming more and more accessible. And our goal as a company is to basically take the threshold down make it very easy for anyone to come gather information, gather data, public data, and make use of it, which is, we believe it's highly valuable. So a little bit about the different types of companies or different types of use cases that would typically gather information, gather data, and many of our customers belong to these verticals. So we have the travel and e-commerce industries, where the main use cases are usually price comparisons, so gathering competitive pricing. Not only pricing, it could also be inventory, reviews, product descriptions, specs, delivery times, and so on. These are usually fed into some algorithm or some system or some report where companies can either manually or automatically reprice or reposition, or basically just make sure they're keeping their edge. We have the finance sector that usually gathers information in order to make basically better investments, market research. Also, in many cases, people who need to approve loans will gather data in order to get a better background of the applicant and give safe loans. We have the security vertical, where companies either build some sandbox and test all kinds of websites, links, and so on, making sure they're safe, or going to different parts of the internet and identifying potential attackers or threats and making sure they're not a threat anymore. You have the marketing vertical, which is very big, usually doing things like ad verification, making sure that advertisements are sitting in the right place at the right time, with the right content, right language, and so on. And we also have social media influencers campaigns, managing these and gathering information from social media platforms about the public sentiment, different trends, and so on. So many use cases which are relevant for almost any company which is operating online. A little bit about collecting data. So collecting data is challenging, and there's different aspects of it, definitely when it's on high scale. Well, first of all, websites keep changing all the time. So they can change their appearance, their structure, they can change how users interact with them. Buttons can move from here to there. And that changes, basically anytime one of these changes happens, that affects your crawler, which is expecting something to be here, and now suddenly it's over there. So that's very important, and that's something that needs to be constantly adjusted. On top of that, websites also use different types of bot detection and blocking mechanisms, and these also change. So once that happens, then the system needs to quickly be adjusted. And that means engineers or some type of resource that needs to manage that. Then we have the scale issue. So you could be building your own crawler, and maybe it's working perfectly fine, and you're sending some amount of requests, but then hopefully your business is going to flourish and be very successful. And then what happens if suddenly your traffic or the amount of requests that you're sending, the amount of information you're collecting is 10 times larger? In that case, there could be issues related to your infrastructure, your throughput abilities, some bottleneck is going to happen there, or maybe you're going to have different problems related to blocking. Now that some of your traffic or the amount of information you're collecting is significant, websites are going to start blocking you. And then that's something that you're going to have to start managing. That brings us to the blocking issues. So today, sites use more and more sophisticated bot detection systems. And these systems look at very small, bits and bytes details, which I'll go over soon. And they're very sophisticated, very easily blocking today. And that's something that needs to be managed as well. So building the mechanisms to unblock websites that you're getting information from can be a hard task. And even after the initial unblocking mechanism is built, it's something that needs to be constantly maintained, because these bot detections mechanisms keep updating, and you need to update your system together with them. So we have a resource-heavy system, basically. We have a complex infrastructure, but that's the easier part. And then we have the labor-intensive part, which is related to keeping everything up to date, maintaining the crawlers, maintaining the parsers, and unblocking abilities, and so on. But the good news is that today we have some solutions that make all this very easy. So a little bit about the different layers of collecting data. So at the bottom, we basically have the core infrastructure. We have the servers, which the code is running on, sending the requests, passing the responses, and so on. It could be Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, and that happens on the customer side and also on Bright Data side. The main point about this is that you need to make sure that the core infrastructure is not creating a bottleneck. It's supporting the throughput that you want to be using. And the second layer is the proxy network. So Bright Data offers 4 types of proxy networks. We have the residential network, which offers around 80 million IPs on a monthly basis, pretty much from anywhere in the world. We have the data center network with 700,000 IPs from 90 countries. We have the mobile network, which is very similar to the residential, only coming from mobile devices. And we have the ISP IPs, which are basically residential IPs hosted in a data center-like environment in order to be able to provide IPs that don't rotate, which is important for some use cases. So it's important to have a network with the right global coverage and wide enough amount of peers to support your scale and to make sure that you're not getting blocked. These used to be the main products we offered up until 2.5, 3 years ago. But now we have the new generation of products, the unblocking and parsing products. And basically today we take care for you of anything related to unblocking, parsing, for main target sites, for main websites. Well, we probably have prepared crawlers with the parsers. You just need to decide what are the URLs that you want to access, where should it be sent, and how often should it be done. And that's pretty much it. Really, really easy these days. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Web Unlocker. The Web Unlocker basically is a product and an infrastructure serving other products that Bright Data offers. And in simple terms, Web Unlocker is a product that handles automatically anything related to unblocking. All these things I talked about that target sites may block you, and there's bot detection mechanism and so on. Web Unlocker handles that on its own, saving you that headache. And then you just need to send requests, collect the responses, process them, and move forward. You do not need to handle anything related to unblocking. In terms of integration, which is very important, especially if you're already using some external service. So it's a proxy-like interface. So anyone already using proxies, integration should be very, very simple and easy. The Web Unlocker is a simple proxy-like interface, username, password with the target site, and that's pretty much it. Send a request, get the response. And the bottom line of this product, the main goal of this product is giving full access. You should be able to get any information you want at any time, at any scale, with simple and easy integration, and it should just work at all times, and that's it. So about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we started, that sounded kind of like a dream, but today it's working. It's working very well. We actually found out along the way that not only that it saves the need to handle blocking issues, but some of our customers had target sites that they have just given up on and just didn't even try collecting information from because they didn't want to put the resources in unblocking them. And then suddenly, when using Web Unlocker, these sites are open for them. And these are new sources of information. So that's a great value for companies. So I really like this slide because up until 2-3 years ago, when we did workshops around the world with customers, we usually explained that these are the different types of blockings coming from websites. And then we would work on different best practices on how to overcome these blockings. But today, the Web Unlocker handles all that on its own. But let's go over and see what do we have over here, what types of elements we have in the blocking. I will say in advance, this is an entire world. It's much more complex than what I'm showing here. But let's just kind of touch the main topics. So we have the network and IP. You need to go to the target site through the right network. Some target sites are very easy, and you can go and use data center IPs, for example, which are cheaper. Some target sites are tougher. You need to go through the residential network, for example. You need to know when to use which network, and you also need to know when to escalate from one network to another. For example, maybe you'll try first through data center. If that doesn't work, you're going to waterfall through residential. When within the network you're using, for example, if you're using data center IPs, you need to also manage the IP so that they don't get burnt, don't get blocked. You need to rotate them. You need to have a sufficient amount of IPs. So this is one section that needs to be managed. Then we have another part, which is everything related to headers, protocols, fingerprints of the device or of the request. So these have a huge amount of parameters. Headers and protocols are just one example. But basically, all these different parameters, when you go through from your browser to a website, there's some interaction between the site and the browser. The browser loads all kinds of resources. It sends all kinds of headers and user agent and using a specific protocol. There's different inputs like the size of the screen, the different tests coming from the bot detection mechanisms and target site. This is a whole world on its own. And this is something that's, if working on high scale, needs to be managed. And for the main sites that a lot of people go to today, like main e-commerce sites and travel sites, this is becoming increasingly hard. We also have cookies. So a lot of sites use cookies, and then you need to collect these cookies and use them in the right way, the right time, rotate them when needed, refresh them when needed, and so on. We have the handling of being detected or being blocked. So that happens, obviously, and there's times when you're being blocked, a hard block. So you know that you're being blocked and you're getting some error. You can handle that. You can retry. You need to decide what to do with that, but that's something that also needs to be managed. Or you have soft blocks, which are even more complex, where the target site is going to do something more sophisticated. It's not going to show you that you're blocked. It's going to serve you with information as if you're getting a successful request, but it's going to be false information. So you're going to have a system that can detect these subtle changes in the information that you're getting to make sure that they make sense and handle them if they don't make sense. So all of these things, which are part of the challenges when trying to unblock websites and collect information on a high scale, all of these are not relevant anymore because Web Unlocker basically does all that for you. It's being handled automatically, and you can just focus and put your resources on what actually matters, on your core activities, core projects of the company, and not on getting over barriers to get the information that you need. In terms of performance, Web Unlocker is almost at 100% success rate. It's really literally on the 99.99 something. And not only that, the Web Unlocker is a learning system. That means the system keeps learning what is the best presets. We have this toolbox with all the abilities that I described before, and the system keeps learning what is the best preset for each target site, for each geolocation, and making sure to keep updating that preset so that suddenly some changes are made in the target site, then the system knows how to change that to different presets, different setups that can make it work. So it basically fixes itself on its own, which is really amazing. If I'll make a quick comparison between proxy networks and managed solution or Web Unlocker, so all of the products are going through the super proxies, which is a core part of our infrastructure. And all of our products are available to use and manage through the Proxy Manager, which is a product platform we've developed for managing your proxies. And then other than that, all the other aspects are available only with Web Unlocker. So you have automated unblocking, which we've discussed, automated CAPTCHA solving, handling of target site markups, meaning changes in the target sites. And also you have the option of you working in a asynchronous way and not real time. So that's also an option. So again, some of the main use cases you'll see for Web Unlocker. Obviously, a lot of use cases come from the e-commerce and retail, and also travel, real-time price intelligence, collecting information about product reviews, specs, delivery times, inventory, and so on. Market inventory management, insights, sales forecasting, product discovery, and then also any other type of public data monitoring, like online financial data, government or public data sets, people data. Basically, any type of public information is available through the Web Unlocker. It just lets you easily fetch any information that you need. In terms of how to use, Web Unlocker is super easy to use. It's, like I said, a proxy-like interface. Basically, you just need to decide what are the target sites, what are the URLs you need to target, and then your system should send a request, a simple proxy request with username, password, target site, like you can see here in the slide. Get back the raw HTML, collect that, and just start working. This is just a screenshot to show you that you can go in our control panel, and you can see that there's a section there for API and integrations. You can just easily generate examples of different queries you want to make, and just start working. Very easy. You can get documentation for any code language. It's just really, really easy to get started. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the presentation. You have in this slideshow a link to start using Web Unlocker, and if you click that link, you're going to get a $50 bonus to get started with. So thank you very much, and passing it back to Art. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them now.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, and also for providing the bonus. I know that goes a long way. So yeah, if you have any specific questions that you'd like to have answered, you can go ahead and put those in the chat right now. I'll go ahead and get started with the question. One of the questions that I have is, what is sort of what do you see on your end as the most common use case? Is it mostly e-commerce? Is it or is it something else? What are you seeing, people using this product for the most on your end?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think since COVID-19 started, that was the case before, but it made it even more extreme now, that more and more companies, more and more of commerce is moving to the internet. And as that happens, then we directly see that more and more of the customers coming to us are coming from the e-commerce vertical. These are different companies that either sell things online or give services to other companies who sell things online. And they basically need to collect all types of information about products, their prices, their specs, their delivery times, trying to give the competitive edge to themselves or as a service to other companies. That would be probably the main use case. And we also have the same thing with travel. And I guess the third largest one would be related to the ad tech industry, verifying the ads. So that goes hand in hand with more and more commerce online. There's also more ads. You need to verify they're in the right places, presented the right way. You need to verify that there's no ad fraud, the links are not broken, and so on. So that would be like the big group of use cases we see.
Yeah, but really anything with data that's constantly changing, it needs to be anything like price changes or fare changes or whatever it may be. Anything that's constantly changing is really important to get updates from and stay on top of collecting that data for sure.
Definitely, yeah. We have some of the biggest players in the market are our customers, and some of these customers actually reprice their products on a daily basis or even multiple times a day. And they do that based on information they gather in real time from the market, basically from the internet.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And, I know from my end that one of the most difficult things to do is collect data. And, it becomes increasingly hard with the way that the web is today. So many things are behind logins, they're behind CAPTCHA, they're behind security features, and it sounds like that you provide a lot of really useful tools to sort of get around those and programmatically collect data without being blocked by like a username and password or some sort of CAPTCHA verification. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll add over that our product used to be up until a few years ago basically proxy products. We give access to different types of proxy networks, and we gave different tools to manage these proxies. But today the picture is completely different, because as I mentioned earlier, our goal is to lower the tech ability threshold. We don't want only cutting edge technology companies to be able to gather data. That used to be the case, but we don't want that to be the case anymore. Anyone can use data, and we want people in companies that literally don't have R&D teams to be able to collect data by simple interfaces where they can just define what they need and when they need it, and just start working, get that information, just process that information. That's it. They don't have to deal at all with the different barriers and the resources, that are required for collecting data. That's like the main goal.
Yeah, for sure. Could you just touch on the pricing, model and what the pricing looks like for, even, anyone from like maybe a single user to a small team. I don't know, if we need to go so much into like enterprise pricing, but at a high level, could you, maybe just touch on how the pricing works?
Yeah, so definitely, we have a big variety of products, and anyone with any budget can find a suitable pricing for himself. We have, we have customers using data center IPs at low quantities, paying as little as a few dollars each month because that's just what they need. And we have customers paying way, way, way more than that. But basically, there's a few elements for the pricing. So if you're using actual IPs, like data center IPs, and you have IPs allocated to you, you're going to pay for these IPs. And then on top of that, for all of our products, we have payment for usage, for traffic. For proxy networks, you pay per gigabyte. And for managed solutions, Web Unlocker, our data collector, our search engine crawler, for all of these, you pay for CPM, for units of 1,000 requests. And for the managed solutions, Web Unlocker, data collector, and the search engine crawler, you also only pay for successful requests. Any requests that fail are not going to be billed at all. So this is basically our pricing.
Perfect, thanks. And, I guess just finally, I think it would be good to, touch on, you've provided some information, here, brightdata.com. Is that correct? Or do I have that wrong? But brightdata.com, is there any other way, or if you want to add anything else at this point that we should know about BrightData, please do so. Otherwise, if there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and get this wrapped up. And just as a reminder, to everyone that was here, thank you so much for coming onto this call. It's definitely tough. I know with different time zones, we're in 112 countries, so it makes it tough to find a good time, but this is recorded and distributed out to our entire community of 7,000 people. So we're excited to sort of to share this and share everything. But is there anything else that we should know about BrightData before signing off?
I think we touched all the important points, so I'll just say thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. Have a good day.